Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. This is your first time here. Welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to be doing an Inaliti design pattern called the Drawstring Satchel. This bag is very small, and when I say it's small, it is. It's about 8 inches by 7. It's tiny, but it packs a very big wallop. You're going to like it. We're going to be learning how to do grommets. We're going to be learning how to install hardware and just have some fun. So make sure that when you buy this pattern, I'll put the link in the description box. There's no affiliation. When you buy this pattern, that you follow all the instructions in the beginning. There is quite a few pages on just how to prep to have things prepped to have it easy going. So once you have it all prepped and you're all ready to go, let's get started and let's go on to page number 11. Page number 11 is where we're going to grab our initial our interior zipper pocket. So we're going to need a zipper, tape, a zipper, and we need pattern pieces H. Pattern piece H and lining back G. The pattern on this is going to be 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, but we're going to go ahead and baste. And let me just trim this zipper teeth. You can cut the zippers ahead in advance. I just like putting them sometimes on my zipper and just making sure that it's fitting correctly. Okay, and I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. You know me, I love double-sided tape. It helps tremendously. I'm using 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to put this on the lining piece. For my lining piece, I'm using water-resistant canvas and regular cotton canvas as well. I like to mix it up. Then I'm going to take it to the back and cut it perfect to size. I'm going to put these two, sandwich the two lower piece H's together and sew at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitch at the beginning and at the end to lock in that stitch. Okay, we're going to give this a nice little tug, and then we're going to top stitch right across here using 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to grab some double-sided tape again, and I'm going to put this on the upper H piece. I want, when they open up the zipper pocket, they see this fun Rocky Horror print. And this is canvas. Not water resistant, but just canvas. And see, when you do this, this all should line up nice and neat. We're going to put this top piece that has our prep piece where it has a 1-inch mark. The 1-inch mark you want to have go towards the bag, and you want to line up your raw edges, and you're going to sew at 3/8 of an inch. Back stitching at the beginning of each, and the beginning and the end, please. And then trim these. Going to tug that, and we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to put the zipper pull on. I'm just going to move this lining piece out of the way real quick so that way it's not interfering. I'm going to take a zipper And I'm going to feed both teeth in, and I'm going to make sure that they're even right at that center divider bar. And then I'm going to just kind of push it in, and it's not even. You can see that it's kind of bubbling, so I'm going to take it back out. Sometimes that happens. There we go, no bubble. And then we're going to machine base this close so that the 3 layers can become one. So you're going to go right above the zipper teeth and then just go around. You can go 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to trim those threads, and we have our first interior zipper piece. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to want to make our center on here. I'm just going to trim this to be flush with the red. Sometimes, you know, my cutting is not as accurate as I would like it to be, but that's why we have seam allowances, that if we mess up a little bit, we could fix it. So I'm going to make sure that these are flush, and then I'm going to put a notch right there on the top. I'm going to grab our lining piece F, and I'm going to grab our gusset panel E for the lining. So with our 2 lining pieces, we did mark our 1-inch top piece. We're going to put these right sides together and make sure the 1-inch marks are touching each other, and then go to the bottom of it and sew a 3/8 seam allowance. Back stitch at the beginning and end. Okay, then we're going to top stitch this seam allowance. I love it when it's 3/8 of seam allowance, because I feel like I don't have to use double-sided tape. I can kind of just flip it and kind of pancake it and press it in. So we're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch down each side seam. I'm going to hop over a few stitches and do that on the other side. Trim those threads. I'm going to take this other pattern piece, lining piece, and I'm going to find its center. I was kind of excited to actually see that the side piece was, the interior was done first. Usually we always do the exterior first, so it was a nice change. Going to match the bottom to the bottom center, and then put them on our top pieces. And we're just going to do our gusset like we normally do. I'm going to clip till our heart is content. So that means as many or as few as you want. Now, if your gusset's not sitting right, you could do 1/4 of an inch snips. Because, you know, waterproof canvas literally has like no give. So if that's what you want to do, go for it. There is no wrong or right way of doing things, just the way you want to. All right, and then we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Now, back stitch really well at the beginning and at the end. I can't emphasize this enough on this particular pattern. Make sure that everything lines up, and make sure you sew the correct seam allowance. This is going to be a drop-in lining, so a lot of times people will take in the seams, it's lining, and things don't fit snugly. The designer had all this in mind when they were creating the pattern, so just give it a shot. Every designer is completely different from the next, and that's what makes it beautiful. Okay, so trim those threads. And what I like to do is right where the 1 inch mark is right here, I'll get close without cutting into the stitching on both sides, because I'm not going to trim above this 1 inch mark. I'm going to take my pinking shears and then go all the way around and trim this down to about a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure that I do not cut into my stitches. And see, when you cut it in advance, you could just kind of move that 1 inch out of the way and toss that. I want to have a nice little bag tag on here, so I'm going to put handmade. I can't believe this is handmade either. I'm going to put this right here, right underneath it. And just paste this on. All right. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to do our bottom notch to the bottom. Match our 1 inch marks up. Just clip it around as many or as few clips as you want. There's no wrong or right. Okay, and we're going to do 3/8 of an inch seam allowance again. All right, trimming those threads. I'm going to cut into that 1 inch mark, not cutting into my stitches. Trimming. Okay, that one's always a little messier because that has a zipper on that side. All right, so I'm going to grab my double-sided tape. And I know on the pattern it tells you to put double-sided tape right on each opening that you butterfly open. What I like to do instead is butterfly it open and then put my double-sided tape right at that right above that 1 inch mark. So I'm about to get to another side, so I'm just gonna butterfly it open. Okay, and then I'm going to open up my tape. And then I'm going to fold down this line to that 1 inch mark that we drew. Ah, see when the prepping comes in handy? And you have your interior all set and ready to go. All right. So once you have that, we're going to hop on over to page number 15. On page number 15, there's this really cool braided motif that she created on this on the bag that you can have. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm not going to be actually using it myself because I have a printed fabric piece and it would take away from the print. But what I like to do, I follow the directions. I have my 12-inch piece. I'm going to, instead of putting tape, I'm going to put something heavy like a weight on here, and I'm going to show you. It is a, once you see it, you're going to be like, wow, I freaked out for no reason. It is literally a braid. You're literally braiding hair. So we're going to take, you have your right, your middle, and your left. So we're going to take your right and cross it underneath the left piece. And then you're going to take your, now what this is, your right over here and cross it over. So you're always taking the one from the right and crossing it in between. I'm sorry, you're going to take this one. And you're going to bring it back. I confused you. I'm sorry. We're going to braid your hair just like if you have done a Dutch braid, a plait. I'm going to take the right one and cross it over the middle one. I'm going to take the left one and then cross it over, crossing it over. And you can make these as loose or as tight as you want it, but it looks better tight. So right over the middle. So you're just really moving the one side from side like a regular braid. Now you could take the time and you can make it tighter. Like I eventually got tired of doing it on the table, so I started just doing it like I would do my daughter's hair or when I put French braids in my hair. And we have a nice braid. So what we do from here is we would take it to our machine and we would stitch this so that way it can lay flat and the braids don't unlock. And then you would measure a 6-inch piece. So I would take this over and I would measure 6 inches down. From like where I sewed that little stitch. And I'm going to mark it with some chalk and sew another stitch up here. Okay, then I'll just trim off the excess above that stitch line. And we have a nice little cute braid, right? So then we will get our decorative strap and copy where the slits are going to be. And we would put them, we would slide this piece through. And kind of make it even as possible. And we would sew this body down. So we're going to sew starting at on one end, and then we're going to make a small box. We're going to go down the braid sides. Sorry, it would help if I would have had my needle threads to hold it back so that it would have started sewing. Now I have some mini holes I gotta fill. We'll re-sew over. Okay, there we go. So we're going to start at one end. And you can pull your threads to your back or you can back stitch. It really is up to you. I recommend pulling your threads to your back if the thread is a contrasting color. If it's the same color, then you're fine. Just back stitch. And let's trim these threads and trim off any excess of the braid so that doesn't create bulk underneath. And you would follow the markings that are on the inside of this. I drew the lines and now I'm going to fold them. I'm going to take double-sided tape and fold to those lines so I can create this really fun embellishment for the front of the bag. Now, my front of the bag, like I said, is a cotton canvas. So this would go in the very front like this. And see how it kind of breaks up my this beautiful toss print. So I'm not going to be using this, but we will continue and just pretend like this is here. You would sew this on using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure that it's nice and centered. I'm going to make my center marks right here. What we're going to need now is the back. We're going to need the back decorative strap holder. I'm sorry, we're going to need to repeat for the strap hoop connector, we have those lines that are similar to the lines that we have for the decorative strap connector. And we're going to prep our theme real quick by folding it onto those lines. Okay. All right. Then we're going to make a mark going 1 3/4 of an inch down. And we're going to put some false stitching to this line. We're going to do 1/8 of an inch going this way and 1/8 of an inch going the other direction. I'm going to back stitch. And we're not going to cross over. We're just going to do 1/8 of an inch to that 1 3/4 of an inch line. And trim those threads. And do the same thing on this side. You'll see why we have to put false stitches in here in a moment. All right. Where the false stitching is, we're going to need to be making some marks. You would have your decorative strip right here. you would now need to line up this piece on top of it. With using our pattern piece paper, we'll have where we need to have the top of this. So I'm just going to draw a line real quick. I need to have the piece centered. I'm going to draw a center mark. Here. And I would need to make a box. Here. So we need to sew a box right through here. So again, you will have yours like this if you decided to do this, the faux trim. So the part that's longer exposed will be here. You would have it lined up, and this will be sewn over here, and this all becomes one piece. But because I'm not using that, I'm going to just follow the line and sew my box. And back stitching at the beginning and end. I don't feel like this is centered. Hold on. I'd rather correct this now than worry about it later. I could put a piece of double-sided tape, but I think I got it centered now. So the box is only 5/8 of an inch high. And unfortunately, I didn't have any cool 4-inch ring diameter rings. I know you can order them from multiple places, but I didn't have any. So I'm going to be showing you, let's take some alternate. Like you can get like a cool buckle ring like this and have it go through like this. And this could be something it holds on to. Like this is really cute. You can use a regular rectangle ring. This is really cute. And last but not least, a D-ring or an O-ring. And this is really cute. I think I'm going to go with the O-ring. So then we're going to take this and we're going to fold it. I know it's our gut instinct to go towards do this. We're not doing that. We're going to fold this to meet the raw edge. That's why we have false stitching, so that way we can stitch up onto this. So just to make it a little bit easier so there won't be any shifting, I'm going to take some double-sided tape, or you can take like beacon glue, whatever's easier for you, and just have a little bit in the middle. And I'm going to make sure this is lined up correctly. And we're going to stitch going up one way and then stitch going the other. And I'm going to back stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to stitch going up on this one. I thought this was super clever and cute. And let me get my scissors and get all these tails out of the way. So we have this. And now we're going to put 2 rivets. And I'm just going to mark my rivets about a half inch in on both sides, just to give it some symmetry. And I'm going to punch a hole. and grab 2 rivets. Okay. And set the rivets with my rivet press, and voila, we have that. Now we're going to put our Mel magnet in here. And let's see. I need to. I forgot to get the backings. Those are important. I'm going to mark it. I'm going to grab some. This is just foam that I use sometimes when I'm doing magnets to help with stabilization. And it's this sticky foam that you can get at like Hobby Lobbies, or you can get at like I get mine sometimes at Michael's. They have it on the roll. And it's nice and super sticky, and it provides stabilization and helps with friction. And we have our magnet. We're going to take these 2 pieces and we are going to clip them. I always like to clip on the top where I'm not going to sew. I figure it helps with the stabilization. There are markings on your pattern piece D on where you should start and stop sewing. So I drew those marks. And we're going to do this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Back stitch really well. Take your time around the curves. Stop down in the needle down position if you need to. Okay, we're going to trim those threads. And I'm just going to pink all the way around, helping relieve some of the excess seam allowance, and it helps with the unique rounded shape of this. I'm just trimming it down to about 1/8 of an inch, making sure I do not trim. My pinky shears go nowhere near my stitches. And there goes my layer. Okay, we're going to turn this right sides out. Try to do it with gently because you don't want to bust any of your beautiful stitching that you just made. Okay, and we're just gently poking out our curves. I'm using a bone folder tool. It's used in bookmaking to fold pages, but we use it a lot in sewing to poke out corners. It's not blunt. It's a dull. See how that came out really nice? Now we're going to get some double-sided tape. And we're going to fold in the corners that we didn't sew to make sure that they fold in right. If I can get the paper tape off. Okay. And then do the same here. Get this nice and folded in evenly. And then I'll put a clip right there. And do the same thing on this side. Okay. Get this folded over here. All right. And then we're going to top stitch this using 1/8 of an inch, and just be cognizant that you have a magnet right over there in the corner, so you just don't want to accidentally hit it. Take your time around the corners. And I know the flap is a unique shape, so it's like 3 different little corners and curves. But you got this. Okay, that's all squared away. Now we're going to grab our pattern piece B and pattern piece C. So pattern piece C is the bottom piece. We're going to find our centers. I like to just do a little snip. I'm going to find my center down here. And we're going to base this on where the center is. Just do a 1/8 of an, or I'd say 1/4, because you're not gonna trim away, so you might as well get that extra reinforcement stitching in, you know? Okay, and then I'm gonna give you a tip that's gonna help with the grommets. So on our pattern pieces, on pattern piece B, there are an area where we're going to be marking our grommets. What I like to do is I like to paste a pattern piece and punch a hole in that area, because we're going to be punching out a hole anyways. So we might as well have everything lined up perfectly where we're not trying to match things up or marks disappear from chalk. So that's what I do. I'm going to have my 1-inch mark that we're going to fold on. I'm going to have that going towards the panel, towards the flap, and then meet raw edges, and we're going to stitch this together at 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to back stitch well at the beginning and the end. Okay, then we're going to, oh, I did this wrong. Sorry, guys. I got so excited. I did this wrong the last time, too. Hi, Shanova. You're the worst. It's okay. We're going to fix this real quick. And you want to put the lining side down on top of the bottom piece. It's okay, it's okay. I would normally just go over this with the seam ripper, but I'm filming, so this I put on wrong. All right. So we want to have this lining side down because the flap goes above it. Line everything up and base this on using 1/4 of an inch. Then we're going to use this same piece again, and we're going to sew this on using 3/8 of an inch. All right, so now we're going to top stitch this. Using 1/8 of an inch with the flap up. And not moving my scissors. Okay. Then we're going to grab our our pattern piece E. And instead of using Decaville Light, I use a little bit of foam. I noticed that when I have a bucket bag and if I have weight and it's shaped like a U, that the gusset pieces are a little bit lighter. They kind of bow better, or they have a little bit more, I don't know, just foam I like with it. We're going to put the lines with the 1 inch away from the machine and take the bottom half and sew at 3/8 of an inch. Backstitch well in there. We're going to open up the seam. And we're going to top stitch the bottom of the seam 1/8 of an inch down each side. Okay. So we're going to take our machine just like we did the lining. We're going to do the exterior. So I'm folding down the flap out of the way while I'm clipping. And then I'm going to match the bottom. Use as many or as few. I'll use my whole like clip arsenal. I don't care. I'm an over clipper. Hi, my name is Nova and I'm an over clipper. So we see this, we're going to start this at 3/8 of an inch. And I like to back stitch really well on and off and stick to the 3/8 of an inch. It's not a very big, but the closer you can stay exactly to the curve, the easier it will be to shape the bag in the end. I'm just going to move this flap out of the way so it doesn't mess with the seam allowance, the weight. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to clip into that 1 inch mark, not through the stitching, but just enough to know. And then I'm going to kink all the way around. Okay, we're going to now do our front, and I'm going to mark the area that I need to put the female magnet in. I don't have to put foam for a stabilizer on this one. This has Decaville Light. That is not my color. Wait, okay. I just realized I used silver instead of gunmetal, but it's okay. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. Just to help with friction. And now I'm going to mark our center. And we're going to start clipping all over again. See, making sure that you did everything in the prep and really cutting out your stabilizing pieces really helped this bag tremendously. So take your time, get that right. All right, just gonna clip this out of the way real quick, and we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch too. Okay. And then again, I'm going to snip into that 1-inch mark, but not snip into the stitching. Pink, you don't need to have pinking shears. You could do notches around the curves with regular scissors. And then we're going to get our double-sided tape. We're going to butterfly open the seams. And I'm going to use the tape right on that, right above the 1-inch mark. And just start folding this down towards that 1-inch mark. And I'm just folding it down. Okay. I'm going to turn this right sides out. like to just rub my thumb pad around the seam just to like give it a go. Like this is where it's supposed to be. We're going to, I like to also like firmly press the tape down, kind of creasing it with my thumb pad as well. We're going to now grab our lining piece and sit it in. Once you have that in, you can use double-sided tape on the lower part to have it connected, or you can just start clipping it. It should fit perfectly fine if you matched all the seams, if you did all the seam allowance correctly. Just clip to your heart content. Trim that piece of thread. All right. So now we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to kind of squish it. I'm going to get squishy with it. I like to start at one seam to do my back stitching. So I'm going to choose one of the back seams. And I'm just going to roll this out of the way and stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and I'm going to just bring the material to the machine, and then when I need to take a clip off, I'm going to stop with the needle down. Move things over. Yeah, I'm getting squishy with it. Alright, and it's not very big, so if this is your first drop-in, you're probably going to absolutely love it because it's not a very complicated drop-in. It comes together easily. You can see how well. And what you could do, sometimes I know people are like, my seams, my seams. Sometimes I go around with the roller and just kind of roll out the seams. You'll see how it looks more crease in that. I do that when I'm done with it. So now we're going to put in the grommets. Okay. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to hit the holes off camera. So I have a mallet, and I have mallets from all over, from Tandy Leather to Amazon to Leather Guys. I like mallets. This one comes from... Ooh, what I forgot whom. It's old, as you can see. It's a good oldie but goodie. What I like to normally do is I like to have a rubber cutting block you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever you have something near you. A metal block, which you see me earlier use as a paperweight for the bag. Oh. Sorry, I had like a tickle in my throat. A cutting mat, a poly board, as this is damaged, but I also have like a smaller one too. So what you would do is you may have a die press that can do this for you, but what I like to do is I take my 3/8, as you can see, this is, well, love, do I have something that can poke these out? Okay. All right. So the dots that I made earlier, I'm going to center. See how the holes I punched? I'm going to center this as best as I can. So I just, and then I'm going to do a couple strikes. 1, 2, 3. And it's a clean hole. So we're going to do this again. If you have a hole punch through cam snap, that helps tremendously, but I don't. So this takes out my aggression. Now, I don't recommend doing this on your sewing table. I usually do this on the floor of my basement, because I work in the basement, because it's concrete. But if, oops, I just knocked you guys. If you, I'm filming and I want to make sure that you guys can see everything. Sorry for the loud noises. Sometimes bag making gets a little messy. I would actually do this in like 1 or 2 strikes, because I'll be cocking back like I have Thor's hammer. But because I don't want to hit the camera again, I'm doing smaller whacks. Think of this as that game that you used to play, like a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, that whack-a-mole. I think that's what it was called. Isn't it weird, the games that we play now, where it's like, you think about it and you're like, that's kind of violent. But it was so much fun. And I'm using a 3/8 of an inch hole to press it out, cut it out cleanly. You want it to come out nice and clean. Okay, and I got all 8 holes punched out. So I'm going to take my stuff and I'm going to put this away. All right, so now there are hand setting tools that have like an anvil and a whole hammer thing where you would hammer each one of those things in. There are cam snap presses that you can use that can get this in. I'm going to show you this really cool tool. It's on Amazon. It is a grommet setter. So you put the male in, you put the female part on the bottom, and you just press it in. It costs, they range in prices from like $22 to $32. Even with my press, I always just get this. It's just easier to maneuver, and I don't have to set it underneath a rivet press. Sometimes if I was off camera too, I would probably do an anvil set. It just, woo, it's loud as it is. So we're going to get 8 mels. I just knocked down the hole punch. And 8 females washers. Now there is a right side that's nice and smooth, and a rough side that is the back side. I see sometimes when people are setting these, I'll see them on opposite. Just make sure rough set goes towards the right side goes towards the bottom, because it's going to be shown on the exterior. Oh my goodness, I cannot pick that up. And the correct side, the rough side goes in the interior to lock it in. So we're going to, I like to stick the male in. I'll take a female, and this is the rough side. I'll have it face up. I'm going to slide this in, and then I'm going to press down. And then we have a nice fitted grommet. Now, the first time I would do this, I would press too hard and they would dent. But the reason why I like this particular one, you see there's a magnet, so it helps keep that piece in there as I'm flinging it off. Let's do the sides. And this is just a really nice finish to a bag. It looks really elegant. It looks super professional. And you can use this for other stuff like hanging different curtains or banners. And then you can start putting it on like little pouches so that and clip, you know, key rings or key fobs to it. So there's some other uses for grommets. A lot of people will veer away because they don't want to deal with the hole punching and cutting out. If you have sharp tools, and you're going to be golden. You just see me do mine all manually for punching out. But if you have it through cam press where there's a hole puncher, it's even easier. You don't have to deal with the rattling around. Okay, and this is the last one. I'm sorry, my stickers sometimes give the death of me because I can't slide things through. And there we go. We have it all the washers and everything set. Okay, so let's set this aside and let's get we're going to need to make our drawstring. Making our drawstring, we're going to go to page number 26. Okay. So, you can edge coat like she recommends in there. I'm going to use a marker because sometimes edge coating to me, and it can add like 1/8 of an inch thickness. So I want 3/8 of an inch holes, not very big. I just want to be able to make sure this slides in really nicely. So I'm going to fold down one side. And then I'm going to go down this other side and fold it over. For my cork one, I didn't have to do edge painting either because it was nice and it worked out. But you can definitely edge paint it. Just keep in mind that it might be a little bit thicker than you think, remember. Okay, and I'm just going to roll this to make sure all the glue and everything adheres and making this smooth. And then I'm going to sew down 1/8 of an inch down on both sides. I'm going to back stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do that on the other side. Okay, and then, oh yeah, my my little baby flamethrower just flung off. So we have our strap. We want to make sure that it is even. And once it's even, to feed it through the back. And I want to make sure it's even. Then we're going to feed each side. Hold on, let me get this. You want to make sure nothing's twisted. You're feeding it like a little shoelace. And once it's nice and form-fitting, you can scrunch it, and you can kind of already see how this is going to be shaping up to be. It's a cute bag. So what we're going to do next is make the stopper. I'm going to do the fold over one versus the edge coat one. The edge coat one is definitely cool. Because I've been in a convention mode where I know I have a lot of conventions coming up, I just been doing things that I know that are not as time consuming, but I'm telling you, edge coating is so rewarding. It is a great skill to have. It just makes everything look really high end and professional. I'm going to get some double-sided tape. I'm just going to make sure this sticks. And then we're going to fold this over on itself. And then fold this on in half. Now we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Back stitching at the beginning and end. Take your time. All right, then we're going to punch some holes. We're going to line up the pattern piece and punch some holes. Oh yeah, I did drop my hole puncher, so that's about right. We're going to get a rivet, the male rivet, and we're gonna, I like to stick it, like have it the wrong side out showing. stick the male rivet in the middle, have the one side fold over, the one that doesn't have a pointed corner fold over to your right, and then fold over the pointed area towards your left and feed that same rivet through. Take the cap, and we're going to set that rivet. And what this does is it helps with stopping and pulling this on. Oh my God, this is so adorable. This is my second time making this bag, and I gotta tell you, every time I make it, it gets cuter and cuter each time. So let me get this string. Okay, so you can use whatever strapping you want. You can make one. You can make one that and you can have it clipped to each edge of here. You can get webbing, whatever your heart contents, but this is pretty much the gist of the bag. You have a magnetic snap. You install 8 grommets. You have a stopper. You have a cute little zipper pocket. And I think this is the cutest little bag ever. Again, it's not wildly big. I'm trying to give you something to compare it to. The scissors right here are 8 inches, so you could fit it in, but it'll just be poking out. This is like the perfect spring summer bag. Something like totally is a grab and go. You can add stoppers. You can put zippers, caps, stoppers here. I don't think I have enough, but because I've been looking for another one. I only have one at the time, but you could put this end on each one to give it even more polished look. If you don't have that, you can, edge paint the ends to give it a nice finished look too. Or use a leather marker. So I'm just going to fold in these to help it. And we can just use the magnet, snap it in place, and we're ready to go. There are some additional things that you could do. There's some extras where you can put like little D-rings here, right here, so you can hold the bag over here. Again, this with the 4-inch ring will be really cute because it could just be handheld. Oh my God, I can see a lot of people wanting these for prom or like galas or like social parties, because this is a cute little handbag too. So if you have any questions or reference to the Maya drawstring, please leave comments down below. If you would like me to make more patterns from this like brilliant designer, I have a few already, but if you would like to see more, please put down the pattern that you'd like to see. All the information to where to purchase the pattern is in the description box. I do not have affiliate links. If you were like, Shnova, oh my God, you showing me grommets eased my mind, or how you made this bag was amazing. I do have a Kofi account if you would like to buy me a cup of coffee. I greatly appreciate you watching. If you can like, subscribe, and share if you think it's worthy. It would help the channel tremendously through the YouTube algorithm. So until the next time I see you, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy sewing. Goodbye.